be aware there are not stupid questions. There are only stupid answers. And I try to avoid them. But before that, Anthony and we had a small discussion of a practical thing. I want a few of you to lay a track. Not to embarrass anybody, but to show you that track laying is very, very important. Because in the most situations, in competitions, tracking decides the champion. It determines the one who will be champion of the total game. So track laying is very important. Is there anyone who wants to lay a track? And after this session, we will work it out together. I want at least 3, so you can say by yourself, or I will pick somebody. Go ahead, okay? We all know that if we lay a track, we start by standing still and have this starting pole. Anyone can tell me why you have to stand for a while?
For the sand.
Yes. What happens if you are standing on the same place?
We leave a stronger scent.
The pressure, it will raise the temperature a little bit. We are not able to detect, but the nose can. And there is no hurry. You don't need to rush on a track. If you walk in a normal way, it's the best way to lay a track. Okay, I put on my coat, we go outside. Anthony, you
yes,
some place?
Yeah, sure.
We're able to watch the track layers. Already saw 4 different kinds of track laying. I have the impression that most of you know the regulations, the IPO, or that you ever were reading them. Stand for a moment, minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, next to the starting pole to make a good start on the 10th part. We saw...
Stomp your feet or not? Just stand? Or
Just stand. Don't shuffle, because then you change the whole situation. And that's also what I saw. Marie, you were in a hurry. And then sometimes in the corner, what do I have to do? And then you change the soil and the soil damage. It was also with Heather situation. But okay, we will see later on what it brings. In IPO we have different kind of tracks. And I can read all this stuff for you, but I think that the last row is not able to read what is written. Yeah, not because of your eyes, because of this. So I will talk. As far as I'm concerned, you don't need to write, because everybody can have this. And Anthony is the one who will spread it on to you, but if you have a USB stick with you, you can have it almost right away. And otherwise it's up to Anthony. So we have IGP 1, 2, 3, and FH. In the new regulations for 2019, we changed some things. We did in IGP, it's called IGP instead of IPO. The explanation for that is in 2012, when we wrote the regulations, it was in German, Internationale Prüfungsordnung. It means International Utility Dog Exam. But now in the rule book are more different kinds of exams. So now it's called the International Utility Dog Exams. More. And in German, you have to take some other words for that. That's why it's IGP instead of IPO. Until now we have IPO 1 and 2, only 2 objects. From January on it will be 3. Why? You have to begin It is the first phase of tracking, and if you have a track and in private or in exam, the first moment your dog is indicating the first article, then you are relieved and you know it's on the right track and that it's going okay. And to stimulate the dog a little more, we have had one extra article. And as you know, or I presume as you know, and if I have something saying that, you say, hey, as I told you before, ask. In the normal IPO-FH track, the first article is after 100 passes, as a minimum. But in 1 and 2, it will be only the instructions of the judge. Because it's smaller track, it's not so many steps, and then the judge decides where to put on the first leg and the second leg this article. Because at the end, it's always the same. The end, and the third article is at the end. Then we made another one, an FH vowel, the V. In German, it means Vorstufe. In English, I have to think about it. In German, it's Vorstufe. It is the first stage going to FH, because we have FH1 and FH2. Primarily.
Introductory.
Or introductory. The distances, the time to work out, the number of articles, and the specific things. ICP1 is like IPO on track to start. But from 2 on, from ICP or IPO 2, it's a strange track. Somebody else is laying your track. And in a normal situation, it is difficult for your dog because he is able to do his work. And if you train, I think you are wise enough that you use different people to lay your tracks. One time, a lady, 55 or 60 kilos, and the other time, a guy like me, 115. So that makes a little bit difference, but the dog can do that in both situations. It is IPO-FH foul, this primary. It's the same like in IPO-3 track. The forms don't change. Only in this one, there's one last leg always in it diagonal. And the rest stays as it is.
Frans,
Yes.
IFHB, is that a must before you do FH1?
It's up to the national council.
Okay.
Because they also decided, a lot of us, dog spoilers, do IPO. And we want to do A, B, and C, dus tracking, obedience, and protection. But there are also people that say, no, I want to track. And then they can do after BH, right away, FH2. You can do the way IPO1, IPO2, IPO3, FH vowel, FH1, FH2. But if you say that you're not feeling so good in all this other stuff, you say, no, I want to be a tracker with my dog. After BH, you can do right away FH2. It means you have to train a little longer to accomplish the same. FH2, straight track, 800 paces, 108 minutes or time to work out 45 minutes, 7 articles, each 3 points, holding the track 79 points, and 21 points to reach 100 in total. So in this, nothing changed. Once again, if you have a question.
I have a question.
Okay.
On those charts, there's nothing about corners and how many legs we have to have.
many?
How many corners and legs?
7 corners, and that indicates right away 8 legs. And if you have your schedule, you can count them. I gave you a schedule. You have to show us afterwards.
Oh, this one, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So I think Frans in the, not the last one, but the one before, he's asking, you put how many articles there are, but in the sketch it doesn't say how many legs. IGP2, 3 legs, IGP3, this many.
Yeah, but that's not the domain, but it is in the regulations. You see the schedules,
Oh, yeah.
and I don't have a whiteboard, otherwise IPO-1 is like that, or 2 corners and 3 legs. Also for 2, IPO-2 is also, but that is a stranger is laying the track, and in 1 it's the dog handler himself, and so it builds up.
One other question, I don't see you mentioning FH1 and FH2. Are you eliminating the FH1 or is it?
No, it's changed.
Okay,
That's not changing,
okay.
only the changes.
All right.
Well, that's one other thing, because, so the FH1, because I found actually inquired about this, so the IPO-FH, what was, you could run that at any time. You have, at least here, you don't have any prerequisites except for the BH.
Yeah.
And the FH1 and FH2 are the same. You could do the FH2 first and the FH1?
No,
Okay,
no, it was built on FH1, FH2,
okay.
and after that IPO-FH, 2 tracks in 2 days, one after each other.
Yeah.
They like you are doing in the weekend over here. Yeah. So that was a must.
Okay.
Being a tracklayer, it's very good to know what is a track. And if you notice what happened outside, there are 4 different tracks on similar grounds, but the way of walking makes also a difference. If you walk in a normal way, that is what we have usually in IPO. By walking on soil, the vegetation and small insects will be damaged or killed by this walking and by the weight of the tracklayer. So in each step you wait, and the damaging that you are doing is creating this sand path. And part of this damaged soil, vegetation and small insects also sticks onto your shoes or to your boots, and will bring you in every step. You take them with you and you renew them. It is even so that if you are using rubber boots or shoes, after some months, the transpiration of your feet is coming through. It's not because I say it, but it is scientifically proven. At the same time, when you walk, dust and skin particles together with gasiform odors of your body, being a woman, a baker, a butcher, will leave a specific scent on the sand path. And all these things together create this typical scent path. But the scent is a gasiform odor. And that's why it's also good that you leave, if you have laid a track, leave it for half an hour or even an hour. Because then this has the time to build up and to form these gassy odors. And on hard soil, there will be less soil damage, but more shoe or boot particles. And your skin cells, your hair is also dropping. And all the other things you leave on the track. Because if you should have a microscope and go out or here and you see what is on the floor, I think it would be amazing to see what is happening over there. The single human footprints in the track are like a chain of prints in a way in which right away chemical and biochemical reactions converge to start. So if you crack the grass, the juice is coming out and decomposing starts. It's even like in search and rescue. If the dogs have to find people, there is a big difference between living people and dead people. For instance, living people are breathing and dead people don't, but they start right away in this situation of decomposing. For instance, calciforming growth of bacteria, microbes, or kill small insects and die of vegetation. By all of this, the smell of the track is not remaining the same, but will be changing in time, minute by minute and hour by hour. Also, the scent is changing. The track scent develops by time and by the influence of wind and weather conditions. When there is a strong wind, heavy rain, or very hot weather with the sunshine, evaporation from this fluid and this gassy form is making a difference in the conditions. Any questions? And that's one of mine. If you know what a track is and how the creation of a track is, you will be able to understand more the capability of the dog's nose. Because most people who are training the dog or having dogs know what they paid for the dog, but they don't understand the dog. Not only by the nose, but also by the creature that you have bought. We all know that our dogs, during the day or when you are together, they look at you many, many times because they see on your face your emotional condition. They can see if you are happy or sad, and the most of us are not able to read the body language of the dog because the body language of the dog is also telling you a lot of things. So don't be afraid, there are a lot of judges who are not able to see it also. I didn't mention this, judges. Tracks are, of course, depending on weather conditions. Favorable, low humidity, soft rain, windless, and sometimes a little snow. Because if you lay a track and it is snowing a little bit, it closes the standpipe and it keeps the odor more conserved. Unfavorable, heavy rain, high temperature, dryness, heavy snowfall on the lay track, and storm. Because in stormy weather, and even now, if you use a little bit of white powder, you can see at the bottom this turbulence of the wind. And that is what your dog also is getting in his nose. The kinds of soil, plowed fields, meadow, wood, soft soil where nothing or nobody was before, virgin terrain. Most dog handlers train on meadows or only on plowed ground. For a couple of years back, I was giving a seminar, practical, in Germany, and they asked me, can a dog track in a meadow? They only tracked until then on plowed acre ground. And I said, yes, of course they can. The lady was trained for FH, and she had only trained on plowed acre grounds. So I told her, I will lay a track for today's training. So from the plowed acre ground, I stepped over in the meadow. And she was, oh, he's not capable to do that. I said, that's wait, it will be all right. And when he had to cross over the dog, it was 4 or 5 meters to get used to this fan path, and went like he never did anything else. Of course, when you start training with your young dog, virgin soil is the best you can have. But that's another story, how to train in tracking. Unfavorable, hard soil, concrete, because you can, all of you know, I guess, about men training, where the dog in the city is going on concrete and so on. They are capable to do that, but in our discipline, rather would have meadow or soft ploughed fields. So asphalt, concrete, road and places where many people are, or just have been, and heavy traffic. That is not so favorable. But if you train for FH, where many people and dogs have been, that's the place to train. In my club, those who train for FH wait until all the others have laid their tracks and worked them out, and lay their track on this grass. And the dogs can do it.
Frans?
Yes.
So what, when you have, like parks, right, parks, lots of traffic and stuff like that, why does the dog struggle? It sounds like you go, hey, you could say issue, but there's a lot of sense there. But what I'm saying is if you have your scent, and he's tracking that scent,
Yeah.
why do they struggle? So let's say you have a good tracking dog, and why do they struggle with that in the park still? What is happening? Are you going to answer to that? You know what I mean?
I understand that.
So you have dogs, squirrels, you have people running across,
Yeah.
and sometimes when you're in the park, you lay your track, and you'll go across your track after you've laid it, and so I'm just saying, like, so what happens that's causing them, obviously when they get really good, it doesn't, but causes them that grief?
It's a matter of training, because the dog has to learn to discriminate. And if you say I train once a week in a park, it's too less. You have to train more. He is really capable to do that. Discrimination ability of a dog is very high. Because we all see on the television dogs that are now sent in for cancer. If I have something, I don't need to go to the hospital anymore. I give in just some faces. And they put it, and the dog is in the room alone in the carousel, sniffing, and is pointing out where these cancer cells are. Even in America, I know, perhaps also here, they train dogs to find in hotels bed bugs. We have in Holland some dogs trained to find MRSA bacteria in hospitals. That bacteria kills people. They can find it. So it's amazing the ability of this nose of the dog. And also in the park, if you train, I was in Israel, they don't have much meadows and terrain to train. They train also in parks for many people, where they train 4 or 5 times a week. And the tracklayer, or the person who is training, knows exactly where the track is. And that is why you are so important, tracklayers. Of course, the dog is like we are also human. He can have difficulties in the beginning. And he is not always 100%. But you need to give him time to get used to it and to give him the ability to show that he is capable. That's enough answer to your question. After about 15 to 20 minutes, the typical scent will be developed in a way that it is good, recognizable for the dog. So if you train, it's better to wait, even in IPO-1, to wait for half an hour or an hour, because then the development is rising, and it goes for about 2 hours, and then slowly it goes down. So even in a trial where the judge say, IPO-1, okay, get the dog right away, it's not a good thing. It's better to wait, because then the dog is more sand getting in his nose than right away after laying the track. And for trackling, it's also very important to show consideration to the direction of the wind. Now there is a little wind outside. And if this is the track, and the wind is coming from here, you will see that most of the dogs go a little to the right, because the flat part is wider. The wind is blowing it in the direction where the wind is going. And you have to think about it during training. But also is a good one, dogs that are not trained in that way, and they are tracking up to the wind, they indicate 1 or 1.5 meters before they are. So in training, when it is heavy wind, take your dog, lay your track, upwind, and teach him that the reward is at the outcome, and not before. And trials and exams, of course, it is not always possible to create the same track for every participant. Let's take as an example FCI World Championship. You were there, 150 dogs. You can't find 150 tracks that are in the same condition. But if your dog is good trained, then it doesn't matter. Because you have to train on broad acre. You have to track on sand soils, or on clay grounds, or with low vegetation. So different tracking fees, weather influences, different track layers will influence the performance of the tracking. If you want to score in your exams or trials, you need to use different people, different types of terrain, and you will be rewarded. One of the things that, and now I'm speaking a little bit over training your dog, is punishing on a track is never done. If it's going not in the right way, swallow, turn around and say, come, okay, wait half an hour and lay another short track that you're sure that you can do both. Because what he is experiencing at the last moment, he will take with him. And it must be fun. It must be something that he wants to do. And at trials and World Championships, we need well-educated track players. Because if it goes wrong, it is a track player who says to the judge, no, here is this, and here is the corner. So you have to remember exactly. That's why you often see, if you see a trial, a video film, that the track rail is 10 meters behind the dog handler and his dog. And he walks exactly to the corner to show the judge, here is the corner. At the trial, every dog handler has a right to have a correct play track, including the same changes as all other competitors. But that is depending on track layers. For instance, you are a track layer, and the judge say, this is your field, and I will whistle for you. One time is to put the article, second time is for corner. And if you are a good track layer and the judge is blowing on the whistle and you have too much water over here, make 2 or 3 steps more and put it on that place. So that's up to you to decide. And you can say to the judge, I didn't obey your whistling because of that situation. We are a good sport. And everybody has a chance to have one track. Yeah.
We're going to take you back one because I have to think about this for a minute. You say you never correct on
That's not totally correct. Let me tell you this.
Okay.
You can not punish. You can do something to the student when he is fully aware of what he has learned. So I used to be a chef, I used to be a teacher in hotel school and a director. And I punished my pupils, and I've also punished sometimes my colleagues for doing something wrong. But they knew exactly what they did. And if your dog is not totally trained, you don't punish him. It's better to swallow, as they come, because for a dog, the action, moment of action, and the reward, and punishment is also a reward for behavior, is 1.5 seconds. And then the connection is gone. And he doesn't know why he is rewarded with food, or with a toy, or with punishment. So it's better to leave it, because you must trust each other.
So if you have, just give you one scenario. So if your dog is tracking, and I had this the other day, and all of a sudden he caught a scent, and his head come up, and he was adamant that he was going to just sniff the air, and he was looking that direction. So I corrected him, and I had to correct him a couple of times. Then he went back to work, but he was adamant, and came out in a big field, middle of nowhere, and something came across, and it was just, and I thought, no, this is...
But he is not in the training mood anymore. He knows the work he has to do.
Yeah, so he actually just all out of the blue, his head just come up, and you could see that he caught something that drifted somehow across. And so that's what I mean, like, so a scenario like that, you would correct.
Yeah, but correction is pulling back, or say,
Yes.
That's also correction.
Yeah.
I never say no, because that is too much for me, in my experience. I say, and then he knows, error. Yes.
Okay.
Because it's also that when you're training your dog, you are creating a team. And in a team, you know that you can rely on each other. You have to respect each other. And if you don't know where the scent is going, and the jet is not going, and the Tracklayer is not going, perhaps he can find it by using his nose. So you have to trust. Because now and then also people come and say, I don't trust my dog, so can you help me? I say, okay, but come late at night. I will lay a trap, and you have to blind it. Or even when it's totally dark, we go for tracking, and then just hold the light. And when the light is getting good, go to your dog and see what's in front of you. And after doing that a few times, and realizing that your dog is indicating the outputs in the right way, you start to trust him. This is not so specific for the tracklayers, but sometimes tracklayers could be a supervisor. Must be an experienced judge, because a lot of judges are not so good aware of what tracking is. I'm sorry. And they decide how many points they deduct. But the most of them know how to track. And they did by themselves. Tracking supervisor must be mobile. You have to go from one track layer to another. And at big events, they must be able to speak several languages. And most of the people in the world speak English and Spanish. But in our dog sport world, English will bring you everywhere. A little schedule for the organizer. Also important for Tracklayer. What is important for the Tracklayer? A clear knowledge of the regulations. Can I do this? Am I allowed to do that? Because the importance of the track can decide if this couple is going to win, or just because of the Tracklayer not win the competition. In ICP 1 and 2, the outputs has been placed on the judge instruction. And in 3, the second article has to be placed on the judge's instruction. And why not the first? The first article has to be placed at least after 100 pages. So that is also decided by the Tracklayer. And the judge will give you a signal or he whistles to put the second one. And the third is always at the end. And the Tracklayer must have knowledge of how the articles has to be placed in the track with variations. And this means you can prove it in the length on the track or horizontal. And how? If you know the regulations, you know that, Maria, that it is not, no, it has to be done while walking. You walk and you lay up and you walk on. That's the difference.
Frans, I was reading the other day, and I don't know, because I didn't know a lot of reading, that with the new rules, they want it placed in the footprint?
No.
Oh, okay, I thought I read that somewhere. I thought, so that's a good, no, that's good.
No.
You know, because I've always made it like just as you go. But I thought they, okay, I must have misread that. I thought with the new rules, but I've been reading both the 2012 and the other ones, and there's a little bit of confusion as I'm going through all of this naturally. So. But anyways.
No. Because if you read the regulations, and the regulations tells you that you have to put the article on the ground while walking, you're not able to put it in the footstep.
Yes.
The only thing is that the thing you can change is you do it in the length or horizontal. And what most Tracklayers do is one little step in between.
And the other thing is, like, for me as a judge, one of the things that I tell my track players is make sure the articles lay flat. Whether it's cross or this way, not like this between the grass.
Yes.
Because you go through a competition and the dog indicates something, the handler can't find the article, the Tracklayer comes up, can't find the article. It's not the same for every judge. Consistency is important.
A good thing to realize, because if you know the regulations, you have to lay the article on the ground. If you drop it, you have the chance that it will stand up. And then only this part, everything give a little stand, but be sportive and give it a chance to put it in the right place. Okay, Chris?
Yeah, so you can actually, because that's a good point too you made, because obviously I must be hearing some things too. So you actually you make contact with the ground, you lay it on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not the youngest guy anymore, so for
No,
me
no.
it's...
Yeah. So you can't drop it.
Yeah, no, you're not allowed to drop it, because then the situation cannot be that it's standing right.
Okay.
Or it's just beside the track.
Okay. And with heavy vegetation and that, you just lay it on top of vegetation?
Yeah. Because what you often see is what Marie and Edward also did, was at certain places, if you make this corner and you walk around, this place has another odor than all the rest. And sometimes the dog will go down because we think here has to be an article.
So this is probably a good point to ask then. What about the use of GPSs or tracking applications? Because of course it really helps know exactly where the track is, etc. But there tends to be the necessity to have a slight pause when you're laying that article in order to mark the point on the GPS. Do you see that as problematic, or?
No, but you must know how to use your GPS.
Right.
The best thing for me is, and I was watching this track days today, is to stand and to see the marks. And while you're standing 2 minutes, you can ride a lot, and you can see a lot. And while walking, you see indication points.
And as a tracker, you have to pay attention that you don't stop and pause on the track, because now you're creating another scent pattern right at the start.
Like Marie did.
Yeah.
She was standing.
Yeah, it wasn't just her, but I just noticed that some people make a corner and they stop, looking where they're going, but you have to keep moving, because now you're creating another scent pattern, where the scent's going to congregate, another dog's going to come and say, oh, what is that?
This is where the question came up, I guess. There's a number of things. There's one of the things that clearly says that, at least in the old rules, that you cannot, so you basically have to walk and drop, or walk, because it says you can't hesitate.
No.
Or slight hesitation.
That's why I'm an older guy, but if you walk, you have to put it on the ground and you walk through in the same, and you don't need to rush, Maria, because I thought it's cold and she wants to come in. And of course you leave the sandbar in that way. Yes. Although the dogs in some occasions have a better scan than we, more than 100,000 times, for instance for butter acid, we must be fair play for all competitors, for all dogs, so that it is equal. And that's why you have to put it on the ground and not drop it, that it has a chance that it will stand up over just next to the track. More questions? And of course, the Tracklayer must have knowledge of all forms of tracks. I don't know how you do it over here, but in Holland, small country where I come from, only the Tracklayers go to the track, tracking fields to lay a track. And he has to say, I have this amount of fields, I have so many tracks to lay. What is the best way to put these tracks without a situation that they are too close? Because the dog is allowed to go up for 10 meters. And if he is allowed to go for 20 meters, he is on the other track. So, as a track layer, you must know, I have this terrain, and I can make this schedule. And you are a very important person for the judge, because your drawing and all the marks that you make will tell the judge where to look for. Because you will see, when you laid, I come back to you, Marie, when you laid your article, did you notice where you were? If a good track layer is laying a track, he sees things coming up. And I say, this line, that tree, and that big pole are crossing over here. And here I can out. So if I come up, I know the dog has to indicate there. And otherwise I can show the judge that it was here. Laying track angles and articles according to the regulations and to the drawing. When you get a drawing before and you are walking this track and you notice that somewhere on this track the situation is not correct or different from what it should be, then make your own decision and make it a good track. And then you can adjust the drawing. And of course you have to say to the judge, you give me this schedule, but there was this and this, and that's why I did it in this way.
As a track layer, the judge gives you what he wants, but not always is that productive out on the field. Because the judge is 100 paces away or 200 paces away. So don't think that the judge gives you instructions. That's the only thing you have to go by. We want track layers to go out there that have an education in laying tracks and understand tracking behavior and not punish a dog by going through a huge stream or something like that. Whereas if you made a slight angle, now the dog has a normal path, normal track like the next time track.
And don't be afraid to quit the track as a track layer. That's really important.
Yeah.
You think that, well, we told you to go do this, and all of a sudden there's horrible conditions. You quit the track, you come back and you say, I can do this.
Yes, because we have to give all competitors an equal chance to fulfill the task and to get the chance to have a good score. And as we saw just now, and you have seen it 20 times before, if you look at the terrain, it can do terrific. But after 40, 50, 60 paces, it would be totally different. So you are not, as a track layer, somebody that is just for the first time laying the track. No, it's too important being a track layer. During laying the track, no smoking. It influences the track also. And it's bad for your lungs. No discussion and talks before or after the start. A lot of track layers in a club, they have club members and friends. And if you have laid the track, which direction was it? Can you tell me? We know these tricks. And the judges also. One little example. When I was training one of my first dogs, I trained her by reporting that when she came back very soon, quick, I put a little piece of cheese in her mouth. And then she brought the dumbbell, and that was a reward. She was speeding up. And at the trial, up. And the judge he said, this trick I know for many years. And of course, when there are problems, the judge or the supervisor are the one to speak, not participants. Because if you stick to regulations, nobody can say anything. For the track layers, it's good to have similar shoes or boots. The weight, that's another thing. Although, during the World Championship of the FCI, we look into this also, that they are more or less of the same weight. Paper and pen to make a proper drawing, and all specific things has to be on the paper. Information from the judge. And, of course, a good organized tracking phase sets a good example during the whole event. Where tracking is good organized, good tracking fields, and of course good results, that makes your event. No alcohol consumption during track play. Why not? Not only because you are walking your track like this, but if we don't work hard, we will not transpirate, but we still perspirate. We all know what perspiration is. Evaporation, and alcohol is also coming out and gives. One of the things that we all know is that people who are afraid of a dog coming up to you when you're dog, the dog can see that you are afraid. No, he smells. Because right away that when you get this feeling of fear, you produce a certain type of odor. And he smells. That's why he can smell. You have to go to the doctor because I think that there is something wrong. Or he can say, go down, epilepsy, go sick, it's coming. They can smell it. What?
Food before?
Yeah.
And we have food.
Yeah. They tracks into prescribed steps. So if it has to be 118 paces in the competition, make it 118. But train 2500. Because if we have the same skill and we want to do the marathon and I want to win, I have to train a little more because then it's up to be lucky. Late tracks, as it is said there, a week before the event. Because after a week you can use these fields again. In World Championships we use the fields after 2 days sometimes. But if you go, we have these fields for all these competitors, you can walk the tracks together with a supervisor. Tracklayer supervisor go to the fields and see if it's suitable. Because on the day when the trial is, you're too late. And use the correct interval time between the tracks. Because in FH, for instance, the dog and the dog handler has 45 minutes time to do it. In a normal situation, you will see that the dog is back within 20 minutes, or he will never come back. But sometimes it is not usual, but sometimes they need more time. If it's a difficult terrain, or the dog is not feeling well, because he can't tell you in the morning, I'm a little bit cold, I have a headache. The only thing he has to do, you say track, and he has to go. So there can be some situations that they need more time. The start of the track must be logical and time safe. It means in the organization. And before starting to walk, mark the specific things in the terrain on the dog and walk straight. It means if I see a tree up there, this is one straight line. But if I stay over here, it is one straight line. And if I stay over there, it's still one straight line. So you have, if the possibility there is, and mostly there is, you have two objects. And if they are just behind each other, then you have one straight line.
It is interesting for anybody that's done long tracks, is that if you look at one specific item, you don't have a straight line.
No.
I'm surprised how much I go off, whereas if you line up two objects, then you get a straight line.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's near to impossible, like, because for some reason,
Yeah.
I did one the other day and I was surprised, I thought the dog was off. And
Yeah.
he was well, I could somewhat see it.
Yeah.
I thought, boy, it's almost like I was drunk. Like
Yeah.
I was,
But if you walk your track and you see something and you make a note, mostly you are off the right track. So you have to be aware of that. Once again, the distance of the track must be correct according to regulations. And sometimes in big trials, it happens that an IPO-3 track is not 600 paces, but 450. It depends on the possibility you have. But then it's the same for all competitors. In FH, follow the instructions of the cross track. In FH, you have a cross track. You have to mark it on the right spot. Now you didn't, I didn't tell you, so I don't expect it. But never on the first leg, never on the last, and never twice in the same leg. And put the markers, because you need, if you are laying an FH track, you need two markers to put the first crossing and the second crossing. So, I don't have a drawing board, but if this should be a straight line at an angle, you have to put one here and one there. So that the cross-track layer stands in front of the first marker. He walks, he takes the marker with him, walks up to the second one, turns, and is crossing the track for the second time, taking the marker and leaving the terrain. And board the tracks in normal size. What also happens another bit. What some track layers also do is mark the corners. Wrong, totally wrong, because there will be another fence in this particular area. Do not shuffle or scratch, and also not on the places where the articles are to be placed. So when the grass is a little high, not on the square where the article is gone low while walking, put it down. The distance between two steps is about 50 to 60 centimeters.
Wait, I have a question about that.
Okay.
Because for me, and Andrea can attest to this, like when I lay tracks, I take small steps because I don't have the leg space. So this becomes an issue when you have like someone my size who takes smaller steps and someone like Grant or Hakey or Bernie who are taller and can take longer strides.
Yes, and they should, because if you measure the distance between your steps, it will be about 50 centimeters. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And we, with longer legs, and like Don, if we use this, you get tired as hell walking the track like that. So you also should walk in this same distance. That's a good question.
So the onus
And the
then,
road, yeah.
so the onus then now becomes on the track players who are taller with longer legs to now make shorter steps as opposed to me trying to make a natural for me.
It's not going to happen because you can't do that for 1,800 steps.
Right. Okay.
And normally the judge will tell the track players how to walk, or the supervisor will instruct them.
I have a question. Is there a reason why today's technology hasn't been changed, that you actually specify the track, how many meters it should be, and you use the GPS to make it?
So you can do it, but measuring is normally done by steps, not with meters.
No, but I was thinking that that's something that should be thought about in today's.
No cheating using the GPS.
Because not everybody can take technology out to the field to lay a track. Some people are just farmers and they train their dog once a week,
Yes.
and they have no ability for this technology. So steps is something easier that we can talk to somebody who has the ability for the technology and use it, and somebody who doesn't. Whereas when we say it's an infinite, it's a finite meter distance. Now, how do I go out there and make it?
How do you measure this meters on the track?
That's how we stand in the forest.
How do
Yeah.
you,
Because you have any use the
Yeah.
and measure it.
So,
if you use all this technology, sometimes you're not looking around either.
and you lose a lot. So, use common farmer steps. For instance, in protection, we changed in the new regulations to meters. The last longer track for IPO-1, 30 meters, you can measure that exactly. For IPO-2, 40. And for IPO-3, 50 meters. You can put markers on the field. Because with steps, your steps, my steps, or your steps, are not the same. Of course, you need a time schedule, because otherwise one dog would be in a situation that he has to wait too long and too long. In IPO-3 or IGP-3, it's written that it has to be 1 hour. But even if it should be 2 hours, it's good for the dog. But in a normal situation, you say, oh, Judge, it's 2 hours, I need another track. They want a new track. But in reality, sometimes this 2-hour track is better than 1 hour.
But even in the rule book, I think it says a minimum of 1
Yes.
hour. Additional minimum.
Then you need to have a contact person who is local and appointed by the organization, and he needs to be there to talk with the farmers when something goes wrong. He is the bridge. And in big tournament, they walk on the track lane. It's not the same. If you have to track twice in FH, you need one day one track layer A and the other day track layer B. You don't have the same. Big organizations, that's more for the supervisor, but as I said, track layer can be also a supervisor. Do not accept too much differences in tracking fields, equal chances for everybody. take care of the track layer and nursing, drinking, eating. And you can laugh about it, but there are situations, there have been situations, that they've got these people the whole day. And they start in the morning at 6 o'clock. And if you get your first drink at 3 in the afternoon, there have been situations that the Tracklayer says, bye-bye. So, also regular control of the Tracklayer, the tracking fields and the road, is it still possible? Because I went to the farmer and he told me he will mow his grassland within a week, but now I come and see he has done it already. And then
It happens.
it happens, and you have to find a solution.
Just did.
And of course, guys with the tracking fields and back. In a lot of cases you see, now not too many times, the first driver is like Niki Lauda and loses the part of the track people behind him. So you have to think about that in your organization also. This is also very logical. Inspection of the tracking fields before the event. Make a plan of all tracks. If you see at the World Championship, WSV or the FCI, they have a map and all the tracks are drawn. And of course also Google Map is one of the helpful instruments to make your tracks. Give clear instructions to the track layers, and it must be possible if necessary to change. A couple of years ago we had the FCI World Championship in Switzerland, in Delemont, and one of the track layers went home because he had to go to the loo. So he forgot the time, he had to go to the toilet. He forgot the time, and he was drinking coffee, and something happened over there. Then you had to take action. And build a team. Be together and make somebody responsible for the team. Because the supervisor is only human and cannot be at all places. If your tracking fields are on several places, and also at big events, every evening the responsible person has to check the track for the next day. Because if you don't do it and something happens,
You get there in the farm.
and you get there in the morning,
It happens.
it happens, yes.
Just in our house.
Yeah.
The farmer I'm not cutting, we get out there, that night he wasn't. They take the tractors out in the middle of the night and they cut.
It happens also at my place. That's so okay. It's not there. Some proposals for the T is not correct. Must be an R. And the distance between the tracks has to be at least 20 meters because this dog can go up for 10 meters, but the other one also. Track was relayed according to the regulations, the current regulations, and angles and corners must be closed. Lay close, and not all of you can see it, but I saw Marie do it in a different way. If you lay a track and you walk, you just put your foot for the other one, and you make an end on this leg. But Marie, I saw what I do was like this. The dog can find it. And I know that in the year 2000, next year they do tracks with open corners. So it's a different thing than IPO. In IPO we need closed angles. Now in which way will the articles be put on the track? We discussed it already in the length of horizontal. And flat. You can see more or less the angle. And don't wait too long in the angle. Just walk in the normal situation as you did before. Here you can see it. Small step in between. Don't shuffle because you are creating another stamp. Schedules. That was a story of how to make tracks. Questions? Discussion? Doesn't need to be a monologue. I had some good questions. And also in tracking, so now and then you have this you never did before, or she. It's a living creature, so everything can happen. Marie.
I have another question. Am I the example of how not totally attractive?
Once again?
How it works. Am I the example of how not totally attractive?
No, not totally. But you are a good example of showing this is not to be done in this way. Because why is it necessary? If you do this for an FH track, you only can grab one track. And then your legs are hurting and burning like hell.
Geez, I flew down to the first leg.
And the other thing is you want to walk at a normal pace.
Yes,
There's
it's
no
also
reason.
the
Because
regulation.
it's normal and because it's easily to be consistent if you live more than one track. You go out there and, like you said, you stomp like you did. Okay, the first track you're going to stomp it nice. By the third track you're going to get tired and you're going to start walking semi-normal.
Yeah.
Okay?
And then there is a difference
For the dog.
for the dog in the track. Because you are speeding up and it's not necessary. He can find it. It's worth training for us. And it is a difference if you lay the other tracks on another or in another manner.
Well, it's doing the dog a little disservice too, because you might be teaching him this way, another dog has no idea what you're doing, and then you go to the next one,
Yeah.
another track layer walks normal, and they,
Yeah.
what is this?
And that's why, of course, in training your dog for tracking, use everything you can imagine. Try to trick him. In our club, we have also a disabled person that walks like this. And he's doing dog sport and rather well. But we use him for tracking. So,
But it's interesting that you say that, Bill, but when your dog, because we're teaching footprints,
Yeah.
no air scent, right? So the footprints, everybody knows what I'm talking about. So the dog will go, would that not, if you use a disabled person, would that not go along? No, I just curious.
You get used to
I've never run it, they just
And-
get used to it.
a lot of dogs that are good trained, you barely see this.
Yeah, it's true. There is certain amount of,
Yeah.
you know,
And then you have some judges. Now this is a different thing than tracklaying, but I tell it anyway, that if the dog is in the stand part, they deduct for that. Did you see what I did?
And check out.
He was checking.
yeah.
No. It's the same as coming on the corner. He stops. No. No. Yes. No way that a judge should deduct there. Because it's written in the regulations that the dog has the right to do this.
To verify.
And in my opinion, then he is working. Then he said, this was a trap. That's not. That's not. And then on the way, because there are so many possibilities that there is another thing, that you say, no, 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 no. That's working. That is tracking. And some judges, well, not the person, but some years ago, in a trial, world champion, people came and they were complaining. I said, okay, I said to the judge, I will walk with you. So during this track, dot, 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 and I asked him, why are you make all these dots, these little points? He said, yeah, every time when the dog was with his nose from the track, I deduct. I said, how much? 1/4 of a point. Totally crazy. Because if the dog is good working, at the end, you have nothing anymore. So, it was not his last track, but he didn't do it again. And the dog handlers got what they should have got in non-situation. Okay, this was my story about tracking. We can talk more about, but you also have to ask. If there are difficulties, Tracklayer, even about tracking. And so not, then we take a cup of coffee. You have a question, Tracy? Question?
Yeah, just language.
Wait, my hearing is not so.
Laying a track for a puppy. How do you start a puppy to go to? Do you just do?
There are many ways to grow. But I can tell you my way. When I have a puppy, and I really want to have them when they are 6, 7 years old, I take a piece of juicy meat on the road, and I put it under my foot, and I walk in this manner for 5 or 6 meters. So I drag it. I'm putting little pieces of reward for 5, 6 meters. At the end, some more. And then I make 1, 2, 3 tracks for the beginning. And then I put the little one, left hand release. And then at the end, he is eating, and I pedal him. We play it. And we go to the sides. And it never occurred until now that on the 3rd track, he didn't track himself. And then I increase the length. I put this little watch at a certain time, when I'm walking like this, I turn and I drag this meat behind me. If it's going okay, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I put this meat in front of me. And sometimes I touch the salt, and sometimes not. And sometimes I step on the meat to press some more juice. And I increase until 45, 50 meters per track. And if he is able to do that, very concentrated, I put them together. Then you have 150 meters. I do that for 5, 6 times, and he shows me that he is doing that concentrated. Then I make a bow. When he can show me 3, 4 times that he is capable to do that in a concentrated way, in his nose, on the sword, I make an angle right away. And I put one little piece of reward directly in the angle. And that is how I train my puppy. But you perhaps, after Anthony has made the effort to translate the book,
yes, I hope so.
Then you can read it.
Yeah, what Frans is referring to is that he wrote about 2 years ago a book about tracking with different lessons. Right now it's only in Dutch. So what we're going to try to do, because there is quite a strong Dutch community in our area, in many areas of Ontario actually, or even in Canada, since there is many in BC. We're going to try to find some people that have the academic skills to do a proper translation and see if we can do something like this. So it will be also to help everybody.
Yes, in this book it's not only my experiences, also for my friends and what I've seen. And this trick of tracking, also I have learned this. And it was from an old guy who came from the Czech Republic as a refugee. He was an instructor in the army, and he learned me a lot. And I succeeded. So,
Actually, I have another question.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit what is the Dutch Tracklayer program how you educate your track layers? Do they have a track layer book? How you classify them? How you define who will be the guys that will, or the girls that will be doing the championships track laying? And what is the Dutch program in general, maybe to inspire us as a new organization to implement something in Canada?
Okay. You also will have that book. We wrote a little course for the Working Dog Commission in Holland about track laying. It is part theoretical, but a lot practical. It's 7 days, start with theory, and after that, practical situation. And we start with IPO-3 tracks like we did today in FH tracking. And the most people who come, they were track layers at the club, but they want to have the certificate. Because if they have a certificate, they can go to competitions as a track layer. And only if you have a certificate, you can lay tracks on the World Championship. Because it is important, if you make mistakes on the track, everybody can, but I also can lay a track that your dog will not come home. And home, I mean, at the end. And that's not fair, that's not to be done. But we have a course, and the Working Dog Commission in Holland asked a few people, and I was one of them, to create this course. So 3 times a year we have this course in different parts of the Netherlands. With photos, how to do things, because in the exam of this track layers, you have to tell the judge, as I will ask you for, 10 meters before you say an article. And you can count the steps and you have to make the article. 10 meters for the corner, you say we go to the right. 10 meters before the corner, we go to the left. Or 10 meters before the cross track, is cross track. And we count the steps, and it has to be more or less in place. That's how we create it. So there's 7 days, and at the end there is an exam. And a strange judge is coming to judge the track layers.
So the best track layers are the ones that are able to be precisely telling the judge in which direction it's turning, or there is article. It's not about how the dogs perform under their track laying.
No, there are no dogs on that, in that moment. Now we don't have dogs to find these tracks. We take another person, put the leads on the person, and the track layer say, walk. And he will say, in 10 meters we have the article. Or in 10 paces.
So they pass or fail after this certification, and after that you don't maintain like a logbook of which track layers did the...
No, we don't. But after a while you will know who are the good track layers, because they are invited by several clubs for trials and so on. Even in Holland we don't use anymore the scorebooks for the helpers. We used to do that.
You don't use helper
We don't
books?
do it anymore.
And can you repeat the reason behind it?
The good helpers, they are known after 1 trial, and they are invited. The photos I showed you, such persons will never be invited. They will be excluded. And the Dutch way is not the best way of the world, of course. Good. More questions?
What is your preferred way of laying an article, this way or that way?
I normally lay it in the length. So not there.
Why?
Because the length of is 10 centimeters. His nose is longer from 10 centimeters, the contact, than within 2 centimeters. If I go with my nose so, or so, this is a longer way.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's really helping, because I cannot ask him.
Oh.
Perhaps you should say, for me, no difference. And I think that it is no difference.
I do it this way because I have a lot of hair on my dog, so it gives me more visual. I can identify it easier if I do it this way than that way.
It's a good way. If it works, it's okay, because many roads will bring you to Rome. But if you come to Rome, it's a good way.
Actually, that's going back to the articles. So do you play with the size of articles? Like, so when you're proofing a dog, do you go with 1-inch pieces? So let's say 3 centimeter pieces.
Oh yes, I use parts of bullets. I use this when they are empty with food, little wooden boxes, everything.
Mix it up, right?
Yes, because indicating articles is for me a special thing. I train this apart from the tracks. First he has to show me that he can do an IPO-3 track. But he has to show it in a good way. And then I start with articles. And then it's one straight line could be 20, 25 articles. It's down, reward, down, reward, down, reward. And then I'm not on the leads. One of my colleagues is holding the leads, and I walk next to my door, slowly. And I tell him to go. Of course, he knows how to go down. But I say down, and I reward him right away. Because if I have to come from the end of the leads to here, he doesn't know why he is getting to the water. It has to be very close. And normally, let's say, between 7 and 10 articles, he's going down by himself. They are smarter than we think. Because if you have a puppy, and you put a little piece of meat or cheese in your hand, and you put it on the ground, he will sniff. And you open and close your hand very quickly. At a certain moment, some dogs do it within 10 seconds. Some other dogs within 4 or 5 minutes. But then you open your hand when he lay down, and you move on. And see what happens within 5 minutes if you do this trick. Even my older dogs now, if I put my fish, they go down. It's a habit. Okay. No questions?